tuned for today's episode of Breaking the Biz, an informative podcast where we dive into the world of entertainment by interviewing seasoned professionals who have made their mark in the industry. Gain invaluable insights as they share their personal journeys, offering advice on navigating the dynamic landscape of the entertainment industry. Whether you're an aspiring actor, musician, filmmaker, author, animator, or any creative soul, tune in for expert career guidance, insider tips, and first-hand accounts on breaking into the entertainment industry. Get ready to unlock the secrets behind successful careers and fuel your own passion for the limelight. Please remember to like this video and to subscribe to our channels for more great conversations.
Greetings from Breaking the Biz, brought to you by Yes I Can Unity Through Music and Education. I'm William Felber, your navigator through the intriguing universe of the entertainment industry, as revealed by the visionaries and creators who bring it to life. Stay tuned as we delve into diverse insights from the forefront of entertainment, hearing from pioneers, creators, and agents of change. Prepare for a journey filled with tales of innovation, resilience, and the undying quest for artistic brilliance.
Welcome to Breaking the Biz podcast with the Yes I Can crew. Got a great guest speaker with us. We have Jessica Markowitz, who is the U.S. team lead with Humantix. With over 2 years of experience as the U.S. team lead, she leads the business development and operation of the world's first not-for-profit ticketing platform that redirects booking fees into sustainable funding for education. That alone deserves a clap right there. She also co-founded the Josh Fund, a nonprofit organization that honors the memory of her brother Josh, who was lost in an impaired driving accident, by facilitating and supporting access and opportunity to the world of music for aspiring musicians. Through the Josh Fund, she aims to amplify music one beat at a time and empower young artists to pursue their dreams and share their talents with the world. Jessica, I have had the pleasure of meeting you prior to this podcast. You are a positive soul. I am so excited that we were able to connect and find time to have you tonight. So welcome.
Thank you so much. What a beautiful intro. I appreciate it. Thank you all for having me. Very excited to see your faces and names, and looking forward to telling you my story. So thanks so much. And thank you, Brett. It was such a pleasure meeting you, and excited that we can all be here together. So
amen. Before you, and I know you are so prepared. I love it when you're like, I got a PowerPoint. You have your stuff together. I want to talk before we get in there.
Sure.
Love hearing people share. When did you get bit by that music bug? When did you fall in love with music?
Wow. That's a great question. I don't know if I've ever been asked that before. For me, it started with dance, which goes hand in hand with music. My family loves to dance, and obviously, at least for me, you can't dance without some music in the background. And my father's actually from South Africa, so we had a lot of interesting beats and rhythms in our home that blended and created a really interesting way to grow up. And we traveled a lot, and the different sounds that we heard around the globe, I think, really impacted me. Probably starting when I was in my mother's womb. She was an aerobics instructor back then. And there was just probably electronic music going while I was literally becoming a person. And same for my brother. And so the two of us just absolutely fell in love with music and the power it has when you just shut your eyes and you feel the beat and the rhythm. It stayed with me forever. And it's, for me, it's not a party if there's no dancing and music.
Amen. Makes total sense. So when I also want to know when, education wise, did you know you were going to do something with music? What kind of talk me through your route, know, and it might be part of your PowerPoint. I apologize if I jump in the gun.
Don't worry. I love it. Not at all. I worked in several nonprofits and was actually focusing on fundraising and international development, and actually very different to what I do today. but my life really changed when I lost my brother, and somehow my life actually guided me to Humanitix, which is totally about music and events and way more my brother's thing actually than mine. But maybe that's why I found them. It's a direct connection, which I'll show in my presentation, of how I found them and what the company means to me. So I never envisioned myself working with DJs and venues and music festivals and all these amazing people. But here I am. And yeah, we just don't know our path. So I'm thrilled to be here, and I'm learning so much. And it also shows you don't have to study or come from a background of music or entertainment. Life is just guiding you, and you get there somehow.
It's a beautiful thing. So obviously you're honoring your brother with creating a nonprofit and co-founding that, but you're also, you mentioned Humanitix was something like that. He was, I imagine, a music lover as well, and into the shows. And so kind of you're honoring him in two different ways, which is just a beautiful thing. Well, I'll let you bring up your PowerPoint and go through that, and I'll save my questions for the end.
No, I love your questions, and feel free to keep them going as I share.
Right.
It's just to have some graphics and all that good stuff, but I'm happy to just chat. That's always fun. Can everybody see my screen by any chance?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Beautiful. Well, again, thank you. When I met Brett and I heard about Unity through Music and Education, was really excited to just be a part of what you all do. I feel like from now into the future, we can continue to work together and learn from each other. And so thank you, first of all. And this photo really kind of captures exactly what we were just chatting about, Brett. And I'll go through how this creates my story. But if you look on the bottom, at least for me, bottom right, not sure where it is for you, but that's my brother. He was 2 years older than me, and his name was Josh. He was a DJ. You can look him up on Spotify, or I can send you his music after if you like, EDM. He was a funky DJ himself, and that is really how I understood music and that whole world. And as I mentioned, when I lost him 3 years ago now to the day, about a month ago, I was very lost and I gave up pretty much. I wasn't sure how to find purpose, whether just through my everyday or through a job. And then I heard a podcast. I decided to listen to Sam Harris. It was one of my brother's favorite podcasters. He's an interesting thinker, a bit different, off the grid, unconventional thinker. He is the guy on the top left for me. I'm not sure where he is for you. And Sam Harris does not do advertisements. It's against actually what he believes in. It's something that he prefers to do. He doesn't want ads on his podcast. He wants it to be funded by the community and subscribers. And the reason why I bring that up is because he doesn't believe in ads, he still decided to feature Humanitix for 2 quick minutes. He wanted to talk about who they were. They were just launching into Denver, and he was so impressed. And I was at the bottom of the rock for me. But I decided one day to listen. And I listened to the one that Humanitix was featured on. So as a result, I heard 3 keywords, which was Denver, which is where I live, impact, and, music and event organizers. And so I decided to look it up, and I immediately connected with one of the co-founders who happens to share the same name as my brother, named Josh. And Josh and I connected. We got on the phone, and here I am. So my journey really started because of my brother and Sam Harris. And also my love for music has continued to come out, which is the disco ball. That's what my parents mostly played. And so the disco records were constantly playing. And that's really come back into my life. And then the last box being change, which is I was searching before my brother passed, but continuously for how to make actual sustainable change in the world. And it's very difficult actually to find organizations that walk the talk. And I found Humanitix and immediately felt it from inside the staff to outside to the actual mission, the model, everything. And so that's what's really led me actually to to where I am now. I joined Humanitix over 2 years ago as an entry-level, business development position, and I'm now leading the team, hiring folks. I am training, attending conferences, doing my own business development, and really growing the company in the US and in Denver, which is our US headquarters. But we were actually founded over 7 years ago. And the reason why we are in Denver today is because of the success that happened in New Zealand and Australia. We are bigger than Eventbrite now to date, and we are so proud and excited to show that you can disrupt a system by changing the status quo. And so Humanitix is the only ticketing platform that actually dedicates 100% of profits to charity. It's all public information, so there is no way you can't find out exactly where it goes and to who and why and how. And we've given over 4 million to date, and we're on track for 10. And that is just incredible that people who just need to sell tickets to an event can actually give back without trying. And that's the social enterprise model that I've just fallen in love with.
I want to chime in because it is I want to, first of all, I love how you said a disruptor, and we're in an entrepreneurial unit in our program in talking about disruptors when it comes to entrepreneurs and changing for the better. It is such a positive disruption, and disruptors are a beautiful thing. Mm-hmm. We all have been in that position where you're looking at a ticket and then you see that you have like this security fee, this throwing away fee, the blah, blah, blah fee. And we did a charity event. We wanted to make sure our ticket was under $20. We charged $19.99. And the venue we were holding it at made us do our tickets through Ticketmaster. They were a Ticketmaster venue, and there was a $35 fee attached to a $20 ticket. And that was like, that just makes no sense. Mm-hmm. And it pushed us in a position to scalp tickets to our own event through other platforms. But it is a major problem. And especially when you have Live Nation and all of the companies merging together and controlling that dynamic. It is so refreshing, meeting you at Fest Forums, but to have a company that is giving back to charities. There is no other company that I was so excited to go, that is who we're going to be working with for the next couple of years. This is a beautiful thing. Mm-hmm. And on track to donate $10 million. That's huge.
Yeah, absolutely. And we are a charity ourselves. So that's the coolest part, is there's actually no shareholders of Humanitix. So we get to decide where the funds go. We get to be in charge of the future of our impact. And instead of our profits going back to shareholders or to anybody other than to bettering the world, that's where the being a charity ourselves model also comes into play. And the biggest piece, Brett, like you just said, is it's most people have to shake their head twice and say, but what's the catch? And there is no catch. And that's the beauty of social enterprises. There are folks who have done it in other industries, lots of cool entrepreneurs that are, like Tom's Shoes, right? Like these different ideas of, hey, I need to wear shoes, so maybe we can give back when we buy the shoes. But really finding sustainable ways to do so in the ticketing world has not been done. And that's why it's so amazing to be a part of what Humanitix is doing.
I just also love the fact of how you got connected, your brother, the first person you talked to, and I get goosebumps. That's kind of like the stars aligning. We've all been at that low point, and to find beauty and excitement and be able to come out from under a rock.
Exactly.
Just things happen for a reason. So I'm so glad the stars aligned for you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It is crazy when I think about it, and I, never expected myself to be here, but Humanitix has been the constant joy in my life ever since, which can be hard to find after events like that. So Yeah. So I just wanted to tell you a little bit more about how the platform actually works. I think one of the myths of charities, or maybe tech charities, or people trying to do good with business, the myth is that it can't be the best tech, right? Because it's a charity. But that's actually another myth that we're busting, which is that you can have incredible technology and all the tools and keep up with what the world needs, but also give back. So I just wanted to show some of the cool tools that we have. It's a ticketing platform that's still self-service. It's intuitive. Anybody can jump on, and it's totally free. So there's no subscription, there's no publishing cost. The only cost, which we can't avoid, is obviously credit cards, right? And so that is obviously actually the largest portion of the fee, which is we've kept as low as we can, and then a very small fee which allows us to exist. And it's all public on our site, and we're very transparent. That's really, really important to us. But I just bring it up to say that you can utilize tools like a seating map or sell merchandise. Maybe you have a camping festival, you want to sell tents. Maybe you want to integrate MailChimp, which is your email marketing tool. That's all going to be free of charge. And so what Humanitix is really showing is that we can give back, provide you with the tools, and keep things low cost and affordable. And so that is just a little bit about the tools. And then just another key piece is that, this whole system is built upon greedy companies. There's no other way to say it. Maybe you saw what happened with Taylor Swift and what we see all the time. And so our tagline is really tickets for good, not greed. There's no hidden agenda here other than using ticketing and business for impact and sustainability. And so, yeah, we're done with the fees. We're done with the hidden fees, the annoying fees, the $35 fee on a $19.99 ticket, right? There's just no need. And Humanitix is proving that all wrong, which is what's really fun to see in motion. I'll pause, Brett. Questions, thoughts?
No, I love, first of all, the tagline is so perfect because there's nothing but greed with all of these other platforms that add the fees. You think of like a TickPick, which is, people selling tickets and scalpers. TickPick was like great because you didn't have any fees, but obviously the prices are bumped up to include fees. You mentioned Taylor Swift, and that was such a debacle.
Yeah.
So you're gonna get a kick out of this, but my stepdaughter wanted tickets to Taylor Swift, and I had all of my students with laptops all at the same time trying to get tickets for her. And what I experienced was I had tickets. I found, the tickets that I wanted. They were in the box to be purchased, and then they were removed. So, and it's not like I let them sit there for 10 minutes, like I was trying to purchase them. And as I'm trying to purchase them, they're removed. So obviously the demand of a Taylor Swift and all those people. But what I really get upset about is the bots that are purchasing, or those scalpers, so to say, who are purchasing up all of the inventory. And then you see like right after double the price, front row to, so scalping is an issue. The ticketing fees are an issue. But I am seeing, I've never seen anybody who said 100% is going to charities and picking charities and making an impact like you guys are doing. But festival and productions are changing. For example, music venues that take like 15-25% of a band's merchandise. So that just requires the band to have to sell you a $50 shirt, so they're still making money. Right. So I'm starting to see Ineffable Music is a management group, and they're very innovative. If you've heard of them, I know they probably have lots of reggae coming through Denver, but they did a thing where at their venues that they run, they're not charging bands that fee, so bands can keep their merchandise at an affordable price. So the band's still making money, so they can make their money and then get to the next spot. But not charging somebody $50 for a t-shirt and $140 for the sweatshirt.
Right.
The other thing that they are doing on this tour, and I don't know exactly how this is going to work, but when people buy tickets,
Mhm.
up to this point, if you can't use the ticket, sometimes you lose out on going to the event, or you have to try to put them on a third party, and
Right.
you're praying that somebody buys those tickets. They're trying something right now where if you purchase the ticket from their link to, and I think it is Ticketmaster, but if you purchase it not from a third party, but directly through their website to Ticketmaster, if you can't make the show, you can get a refund within, if you know within 24 hours you're not going to make the show. So I think that's an interesting take as well, kind of disrupting the status quo of a venue just going like, no, we don't care if it's not packed. We just want the ticket sold. Money's money. Again, coming back to the greed. So, the company and what they're doing, disrupting the ticket industry is so important. And that is something that we talked about in class, is finding that niche. And I believe you have that niche. Like, you're already doing better stuff than Eventbrite. You're cheaper cost. I mean, like when I was talking to you and I'm like, but what's the catch? Like, is it cheaper than blah, blah, blah? And you're like, yeah. I'm like, so I could, sell our tickets and we could have money come back to our charity. You're like, yeah. Like we could partner with you. You could do an event for someone else and still donate to our nonprofit. Yeah. I was like, sold. Like there's no other catch. I'm in. So I just love, the work that you guys are truly doing.
Yeah, no, and it's really exciting because everything you're bringing up actually with resale and bots, what's so exciting about being in the industry is we have the opportunity to jump in on all of that. So there's been so many mistakes. And as an entrepreneur, you get to dive in depending on when you've launched this project, which for us, it's an ongoing evolution with technology. But as this nonprofit model with no shareholders and no owners of the company, we have flexibility and creativity to jump in and create our own resale program, which is what we're doing right now. We have all kinds of tools like our tap to pay scanning app and Box Office. We're the only tap to pay app at the moment, right? Like coming up with really cool, innovative ideas because it's a failed system. And that's actually the fun of it. So exactly what you were just speaking about with all of these different issues, those are just going to continue. And so we get to keep evolving with it, which is honestly very exciting. I am not a software developer or engineer, but I love learning about what goes on. And I love getting to be the person to explain why it works so well and to be behind it. So
I love it.
Yep. Just to touch a little bit on our impact, because this is so important to us. The reason why we specifically give to education is because there are so many problems in the world, as we know, and we can't solve everything. But we decided as a company that education at the core is how we can actually ultimately solve several issues at once. When folks are educated and there's more access, therefore, to healthcare and life's, basic tools and needs, it is at least putting a lot of people one foot forward. And so education is really at the core for several communities where it's not even available to learn how to read and write. And we have our key impact partners specifically because these are organizations where we can measure our impact. So for example, if you head to the code.org website, which is one of our key partners, you can look at a map of the United States. It's interactive, and you can click on each state and actually get state statistics and analytics of which schools, districts, how many teachers, students, curriculum being served to how many people. These are all available and a part of our impact. We give a significant portion of our profits to code.org, for example, and we're able to share with our event organizers how much impact we're having in their home state. And so each impact partner has a specific reason that we work with them, but they all share the commonality of education. And there are two main entities in the United States, and then there's two that one is New Zealand and one is in Australia because that was where we were founded. But if you look at all of the missions, you will see that they all focus on education, whether it be through literacy, maybe it's through computer science technology, through scholarships. But that's all information that we proudly share with our event organizers, with our ticket buyers, and that we encourage everybody to share when they buy a ticket on Humanitix or when they sell tickets with Humanitix, because it becomes their contribution as well. So that kind of sums it up in terms of our impact. We are excited to continue to expand and grow. Obviously, as our donations get larger, we can expand also the mission of our impact beyond education. But for now, this is really at the core of what we do. Questions, thoughts?
Yeah, I'm curious with the founders being from New Zealand. What was their motivation? Like in New Zealand, is there a corrupt ticketing that they were experiencing? I'm always curious where entrepreneurs get their, they're always involved in something. They see the problem, they find the niche, and problem solving. I'm just curious.
Great question. So they're from Sydney, although New Zealand, I think, is top of the list, but they're from Sydney, actually.
Okay.
And, but that aside, they had no involvement in ticketing. They, one of them was actually an engineer, and one of them was in finance. And if you ask them back then, they had a perfectly good life, and there was no need to change. But that's what makes them so special, is that they decided that they needed more purpose, and they wanted to try and combine their business brains into something impactful. And it's a very cool story that I love telling. They decided one of them will quit their job and one of them will keep working so that there can be cash flow to try and build an idea. They had no idea what it would be. Over a handshake, they shook hands, and I think it was rock, paper, scissors, maybe, of who decided to give up the job. One of them gave it up while the other started building. And they brainstormed and they decided, out of all the industries, let's try and break ticketing. And Humanitix was born in a backyard of, one of their parents' yards, sitting there brainstorming. And so over 7 years ago now, this idea has flourished, and their concept just really came from the business mindset and also purpose in wanting that for their life and for the future of, they both just had children, and at that time they did not. But I know that they were thinking, how are we going to make this world a better place for everyone and for a future that we might bring, people into. And so it's really incredible because the idea came to life and it's working.
I'm from scale. How many employees are part of Humanitix?
Yeah. Across the globe. So we have offices in New Zealand, Sydney, Denver, and one in the UK launching. So at the moment, to date, we are probably from, we'll call it two, the two co-founders, from 2 to 60.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fascinating. I love it. With Denver, is Red Rocks, is that like an AEG, a Live Nation venue?
It is. Yeah, it's AXS. And
some Golden Voice.
Yeah. AEG is here, and AXS. And so, what's a really good perspective to have that I've learned, especially not knowing much about ticketing over 2 years ago, is that you start small, right? And you start where it makes sense, and you start with those who immediately invite you with open arms. And then slowly people are getting word that this is real and who we are. And now it's just organically spreading like wildfire. And so Ticketmaster and AXS, that's a very difficult place to go. And one day we will. But at the moment, we start with festivals, for example, and folks who are really ethically aligned with what we do. And that's the people that have allowed us to grow to the point that we are now.
This is a very good point. Obviously, there's a lot of good that is around music and change. Finding those partners, obviously us, we want to work with platforms like what you're doing. One of the platforms that we used in the past was Universe, and they were independent. And I know you know the ticketing better than I do, but I believe they were purchased by. Are they purchased by Ticketmaster?
I believe that's correct.
So is that like, oh, we see a threat here, an outside thing? Is that something that you guys are like, we're not going to sell out? Your thing there says selling out never felt so good. And
sorry, you can finish.
no. I just want to make sure you guys do not sell out on that level. Play on words there, but I see where companies see anything that could be a threat to, because I'm sure Ticketmaster and the live, all of them love getting those fees and having that monopoly. And their, Eventbrite stands on their own. There are a few venues that are not that Golden Voice and are not the Live Nation owned venues. So is that something where somebody's already approached and said, whoa,
nope.
You just keep going?
So nope, you can't buy a nonprofit. So because we're owned by nobody can ever make that call. Right. We have a board, of course, and our co-founders, but nonprofits are not for sale and never will be. And that's the same thing with our model. When people say, well, are you going to start to charge a subscription fee? No way. That's not what we were built for. And that's not what we will become ever. And so because that's so strongly a part of the core of what Josh and Adam, our co-founders, built, that can never be changed. And that's, again, another reason why I'm so proud, because walking the talk and being authentic is impossible sometimes to find in the business world and the ticketing world specifically. And so, no, we're never going anywhere, and it'll always be Humanitix authentically.
Such kudos. I want to ask, when you were a young girl, what was the dream job? I mean, you're obviously extremely intelligent, you know your stuff. What was the dream job as the little girl,
Back to dance. I just wanted to dance the globe. Yeah. I loved dancing. I thought it was amazing, and a hidden language that you could bring with you anywhere. And then at one point I thought, as I grew up, maybe law, nixed that one. And now I've honestly found my dream job. I get to lead, I get to learn, I'm challenged. I'm surrounded by music and fascinating people, and it's a startup, and it's the most community-based team I could ever imagine. It's like a family. So I've definitely made the dream job.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
How do you stay relevant, and not necessarily relevant, but up to date? You got more stuff, so I apologize.
Oh, no.
Go through your stuff, and I got questions.
No, this is perfect. This is my last slide, which is just that, why Humanitix, right? Brett said, lower fees and we can give back to our organization. Absolutely. It's really what's most important. And then support. So if you talk to anybody who's used a variety of platforms, nobody can get a hold of anybody. So there's bots who buy tickets and scalp, and then there's bots who are customer success or customer service. So Humanitix is in our name, being a human and really showing up for our event organizers. So you always have a dedicated human to speak to when you work with Humanitix. That's, again, complimentary of your experience. You can talk to someone, call, email, get on a video chat. That's always going to be a part of working with us. And then that third thing, which is creating this high-tech experience, regardless of us being different, being disruptors, being a charity, we still supply amazing features with, top-end engineering, making it saving money, time, energy, and a fun thing to do, to go on and put your events on a platform. So that was all I wanted to share, just in terms of.
No, it's beautiful, and it's very to the point. How do you stay up to date on the latest technology? I imagine that there is a lot of money thrown at Ticketmaster is not so techy. but the other ones are, trying to get your event on our page and, we're going to do this, do that. How do you stay up to date on the next latest technology that's needed?
Yeah, good question. So similar to what I was mentioning before, it's part of what we want to do in breaking the mold that you can be a tech charity and still be with the times. And so we have engineers that could be working at Facebook, they could be working at Dell, they could be working at all kinds of companies, but they decided to be at Humanitix, which takes a bit of a sacrifice, right? But they love what they do. And so because we have these incredible, incredible engineers that are up to date with what it requires to build incredible products, that's one component. Then the other component is a lot of our team comes from the event world. So they were an artist themselves, or they worked for a different ticketing platform, or they were an event producer. And so those kinds of minds are coming together and they know the product because they go to an event every single day, or they used to, right? And then there's just active research in terms of being in this company and being in this world. We're constantly learning and taking feedback. And so most companies and event organizers might say, hey, would you be able to ever have this feature? And typically, it's a massive company. Like, is that ever going to really make it to the engineers? Probably not. But that's a huge component that we take into practice. So we constantly are ingesting feedback from event organizers. What would you like to see? What could be better? That's where our releases come from, is actually from the organizers themselves. We can't grow unless we actually listen to those who use the product. So that's been a huge piece of how we've actually built Humanitix.
I love it. Is there a mentor that comes to mind that has helped you in your success?
In Humanitix or at large?
In both.
Yeah, I think our co-founders, both of them, come constantly to Denver, in between Australia and Denver. And the two of them, they lead and they teach very differently. But the way that they care, with compassion and genuine respect for those on their team, has mentored and taught me so much, because from my first day, this was an understanding of, hey, I am no different than you. There is no hierarchy at Humanitix. We are all on the same team. And they really take away any toxicity that you would find at other corporations that I've felt, right, as a young woman and in my jobs. They won't allow it. And it's another thing that is very rare to come across in the business world. They are so raw and real to who they are inside and outside of the office. And so they've both mentored and allowed me to grow to a place that, I don't think I would have gotten to without the understanding that you can be yourself. You don't need to wear a mask to work. And that mentorship just in the last 2 years has taught me more than I probably ever learned in my life, I would say. But the other person definitely was my brother. He was a very no BS, excuse my French language, no BS person. And that goes hand in hand with being authentic. I think, if you can't show up in the world as who you are, then it's not you. And so that kind of mentorship in literally whatever you do is going to help you succeed.
I love it. It's beautiful. And it's great to have people like that are as real as, creating something beautiful and beautiful souls inside and out. Those are the type of people you want for leadership. And it's so refreshing to hear how passionate you are about your job. That's something that we really try to explain in this program is once you find what it is you are passionate about and you can get behind, work becomes that much more enjoyable. You appreciate the victories. You appreciate knocking down the doors, being resilient, obstacles. I'm sure there are tons of obstacles. Is there one that comes to mind for you?
Yeah. Humanitix specific, or again, it's either.
It could be both.
Yeah.
Could be both.
Yeah, I think Humanitix specific. I was my first couple months picking up the phone, calling people, cold calling, and being hung up on or being told, you'll never succeed. I've never heard of you. Who are you? Those get personal. They're not, but it feels that way. And it definitely makes you want to give up. But I would go back to my team and remember what we were doing. And now I look back and I'm like, now these people that hung up on me are coming back to me. And it's about patience and determination. And I never wanted to give up on Humanitix, but I wanted to give up on the world many times because they wouldn't listen to this amazing product I had to offer. So I think being a new company, even in 2 years, I don't feel like we're new anymore. It's a crazy, crazy change in just 2 years. But when you are coming into a new company or you're an entrepreneur with a brand new idea, it takes a lot of, risk and dedication, and it's a grind for lack of a better word, but there is the other side that comes from that. And yeah, I think with life at large, just when you feel lost, you have to try and find a way, and nobody's going to be able to tell you how. You have to figure it out yourself. So for me, it took a variety of things. It's not just Humanitix, but for me, it's practicing yoga almost every single day, meditation, my dog, things that maybe we took for granted in life. You have to just lean into what makes you feel good, because you are the only way to your future, really.
It's a great answer and a great perspective, because it is hard when you're trying something and you believe in it and you're trying to sell it and people are like hanging up, like you mentioned, or not getting it. Exactly. And it's hard to like leave that, it's not a personal thing. I mean, There's times where I reach out to individuals to have them on our podcast and be here, and some are like, oh no, you're not a blah, blah, blah. How many subscribe, So it's hard to deal with that. But, for everyone who says no, there's going to be people who say yes. And it is a great, sweet victory when those people who said no are coming back to you going, hey, real quickly, so I love that. Exactly. Is there a mantra that you live by?
Ooh. Mantra. I have a few. Is that okay?
Drop them.
Keep it short, but this too shall pass. It takes a village. I can explain them as well. I think that's it for now. I had a third one, but it's gone.
Those two are true though, right?
Yeah, this too shall pass is, kind of self-explanatory, but I had never heard it before. And then when I, went through what I went through, I was like, no, it won't. And unfortunately, we don't have control of time. So, that moment in time did pass. Doesn't mean your person passes or the tragedy you go through passes, but you do have to learn how to live. And I learned that many other people around the world use that to get through what they're going through. So that is a very strong one to me, that I thankfully actually didn't have to know, which is a privilege that I had. So this too shall pass. And then it takes a village was always said in my household growing up, because you can't do anything alone. And that's why this company functions, because they are so kind and caring to the team and what they've built. And it's like a family. And so it takes every single person. And even as an entrepreneur, it might be your idea, but it's going to take a village to get there. And so that may be, the village concept, right? Of like, it takes the man who sells the fish and it takes the woman who brings the fish, right? So it's every single component. We can't do anything alone in this world. It's impossible.
It's so true. And collaboration is so important. And you found two entrepreneurs who I love the idea of everyone being equal, everyone bringing an idea, and that's an intrapreneur, someone like yourself who's bringing ideas, to a team, brings as much valuable as the people who are risking it all as the initial entrepreneur. So you're echoing everything that we are talking about. I absolutely love it. I have one last question for you, and then I'm going to open it up to a few questions from the crew
My
here.
last mantra, sorry. Walk the talk. Walk the talk.
What is it?
Walk the talk.
Yeah.
Walk the talk. That's the last
100%. What is the biggest piece of advice you would give to a younger Jessica with all that you've experienced in life, with Humanitix, with, creating a nonprofit in your brother's memory? What's the biggest piece of advice you would give to your younger self?
Probably that you're wiser than you think, and you're stronger than you think. And time is both your best friend and your enemy, whether it's grief or launching a new company or trying to get that job that you love. Time is always going to be chasing you, but it also is what gets you to the point that you're striving for, or it gets you to start to cope with what you're going through. And so just give yourself grace and time, and you know what you want and what you need. So just stay confident within yourself, and you're wiser than you probably ever know.
It's beautiful. I love it. All right, let's open it up to some questions. It can be in the ticketing realm. It can be staying persistent and creating nonprofits. Again, Jessica, thank you so much for spending time with us. Yeah. Absolutely looking forward to collaborating and being part of that village and working with you. Keep up the good work. Healthy health for you. And thank you again for spending an evening with us.
You too. Thank you all so much. Thank you, Brett. It's wonderful to see and meet you all, and best of luck to everyone on their dreams.
Awesome, everyone. On that note, have a good night.
As we conclude another enriching episode, we hope you found inspiration in the stories shared today. Let's take a moment to honor Yes I Can's role in bringing Breaking the Biz to life. Yes I Can's commitment to empowering young people with disabilities through education, advocacy, and mentorship shines brightly, paving paths of opportunity and dialogue. This podcast celebrates the organization's dedication to nurturing talent and facilitating impactful discussions. Breaking the Biz is more than a podcast. It's a part of Yes I Can's broader mission to amplify voices, dismantle barriers, and craft a world that's more inclusive and accessible for everyone. Each episode is a chapter in our shared narrative of progress, education, and empowerment, driven by the spirit of Yes I Can. Thank you for spending your time with us on Breaking the Biz. Continue to challenge the status quo and share stories that resonate. Until our paths cross again, let's keep transforming aspirations into achievements and infuse every endeavor with optimism. Here's to advancing the landscape of the entertainment industry, one episode at a time. I'm your host, William Felber. See you next time.